Hey, this is Anthony with RevZilla TV. You can watch, decide, and ride. Welcome to our detailed breakdown of the new Puma 500 boots available at RevZilla.com. This is the new Puma 500, replacing the Desmo, and it comes in two flavors. The one I have in my hand is the GTX version, coming in over that $300 mark, and to my left, you can see the regular version, non-GTX. The GTX is Gore-Tex, so again, if you're really looking at it, you can look at a 3 to 4 season full range waterproof boot if you want to go that direction, and the way it's designed and styled, to me, really screams sport and sport touring. Now, remember, you're investing in Gore-Tex, waterproof, breathable, guaranteed for life. It's going to keep Mother Nature out if you go this direction, but also allow your foot to breathe and allow the sweat to perspire from your foot, move through the membrane, keeping you comfortable while keeping you dry. Now, if you get the non-GTX version, the normal 500, I will tell you that in a rainstorm you're going to get wet, but at the end of the day, it's still a 2 to 3 to 4 season boot for a myriad of climates and a lot of different riding styles. Notice it is full height, it's going to be synthetic leather throughout, and it carries a great deal of style and protection from Puma. Now, when I call it the replacement for the Desmo, that is because it is a very, very similar boot, 90% of the same functionality, 90% of the same design. But the one key change that they made when they went to the 500 versus the Desmo on both the GTX and non-GTX models is really the entry and exit point. It's now a rear entry and exit. You can see I have my Gore-Tex version. See how high that gaiter comes up all the way to the top. My regular version is exactly the same. And on the previous model, you entered and exited through the medial side. So on the inside, this would be a zipper that would go all the way down. You can see that Gore-Tex stops, that gaiter on the inside as well. I will say we should dive into fit here. And the fit is going to be key, and you need to listen up because these run differently sized. Remember, we're going to ship for free over 39 bucks, but you got to get it close to being right. Use the size chart, and whatever your size comes back at, go a full size down. Your Puma 500 fits one full size large. You're going to feel it in the footbed, and I will tell you that now they've gone to a rear entry and exit, there's actually a lot of extra room here as well. So one of my gripes might be that there's a little bit of extra room around the ankle, and then if we look at the top of this boot, it is absolutely massive, and there's a lot of adjustability around the calf. So if you have huge ankles, if you have huge calves, this is actually a phenomenal option, but it does run large, and even if you're buying the right size, you're still gonna have a little bit of room to move. We'll call it that. But remember, use a size chart, go back a full size, or go down a full size. It's gonna have a lot of room for expanse on the calf, but the key thing to home in on is use a size chart and go a full size down. It fits one size large. Remember, as I said, we're gonna ship for free over 39 bucks, and as always, click our logo, subscribe to us at RevZilla TV. I'd love to hear your comments, your questions, and your feedback on the new Puma 500 and 500 GTX. Now, diving into some of the nuance of the boot. You already heard me talk about the fact that it's synthetic leather throughout, and you can see here, I have my 500 GTX in my hand. This is the only color available. It's black, it has orange accents, oh, the orange, and it's going to have a titanium or reflective Puma stripe along the outside. So again, you're getting a little bit of extra functionality. If you go with the regular 500, it actually doesn't have the orange, and the black and the Puma stripe is just going to be blacked out. We look at some of the other features here. Notice it does have a zinc-backed toe slider. It actually comes with two toe sliders. This is the short version. There's also a longer version. It is replaceable. It has zinc on the outside, and I'm going to call this out. They gave you that longer slider thinking that you might stretch it into the track. You're not taking this boot to the track. This boot is a sport and sport touring boot. It is not a track boot regardless of the height. Keep that in mind. That is my recommendation. Take it to the track at your peril. And the reason is because it needs additional support up the lateral and medial side. That is absolutely where I come down on this. Great for sport touring riding, but again, not gonna hold up in the types of scenarios you're gonna put it through from a support standpoint or protection standpoint at the track. Now, if we look at some of the other pieces that are baked in here, I actually like the toe reinforcement a lot, and I like how they've designed this reinforced area of TPU that comes all the way up the front toe counter, reinforces the front of the toe, and then gives you that big shift panel. The other nice part, if you have a really high arch, is the bellows are immense in this boot. So there's a lot of flexibility. Remember, we talked about a lot of room in the ankle, but there's a lot of height. If you have one of those higher arched feet, this is gonna do really well for you. Moving around to the back, what you can't see is they're about the size of the quarter, but you do have malleolus protectors on the lateral side side and on the medial side. You can see this is the Gore-Tex version, so it says Gore-Tex on the outside. And one of the things I really like is they steal the heel right off the V4. And if you work your way in here, you see dual durometer heel. So we see our TPR, we see our TPU. There's a zinc heel counter along the back. That's going to be that area for slide. Massive and protective. This is one of the features that they get the most right here on the 500 and the 500 GTX is how they've baked in the protection aspect into the heel. If you move along the inside, you're going to see similar materials. Again, synthetic leather, a mixture of textile as you work your way back. There's also at the top of the shin here going to be another little pop of TPR, which is going to be just another interface point with your bike depending on how you ride. Also give you a little bit more protection. And the shin is kind of in this mid-range for me, where I wish it had a reinforced hard part baked on the inside, or I really wish that this TPU went up a little bit higher. They could do a little bit bigger of a job here, but I'm not really complaining in that $300 range. For Gore-Tex and this amount of functionality, I actually think there's a ton of bang for the buck here. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is the durometer factor of the sole. Remember, it's going to be a dual density durometer. You have it spaced out a little bit further for walking around in the parts of your bike that are a little bit less tactile or responsive when you're riding. And if you move up here into the ball of the foot, where it's going to interface with your peg, depending on how spiritedly you ride, you're going to get a little bit of a tighter configuration and a little bit of a different durometer for a little bit of a different feedback. So all in, you're looking at the GTX version at the 500 coming in over $300. You have the regular version coming in the high twos. Sport Touring carrying the Puma style out of Germany, and it's nice to see them redefine and redesign a little bit moving forward. Next iteration, I'd like to see them make some of the sweeping changes that address some of the fit issues, but it's nothing you can't get over if you heed my advice and just use the size chart and take a step back down to a lower size, go one full size lower, and it should fit you spot on. The next step in your journey is to click right here, read other rider reviews of the new Puma 500 and 500 GTX. You don't have to take my word for it. As always, we'll ship for free over $39. If you want to talk to a gear geek, see us at RevZilla.com or 877-792-9455. Thanks for watching our detailed breakdown. Remember, subscribe to us on the YouTubes. I'm Anthony. We'll see you next time.